It's Black History Month. Today's Valentine's Day. I feel like this one's a little fitting. Candyman was released in 1992, directed by Bernard Rose, and it stars Virginia Madsen, Tony Todd, and Vanessa Williams. And to this day, this is still one of my favorite horror movies of all time. I love this movie. And like I said, this is a movie that I feel like is appropriate to review today. It's Valentine's Day. February is Black History Month. The Candyman is probably the most romantic horror character in history. I'll elaborate on that later. But yeah, I'm really excited to talk about this movie. Like I said, it's one of my favorite horror movies of all time. So let's go ahead and start off with the good. And there's a lot that I absolutely love in this movie. First of all, like I always do, I start off with the acting. The acting's phenomenal in this movie. First of all, you have Virginia Madsen as Helen, and she's the main character in this movie. And I really like the way she plays this character who's kind of skeptical of the whole Candyman legend and what exactly the Candyman is. Doesn't exactly believe in the Candyman. I've said Candyman 5 times by now. See y'all later, I guess. I'm gonna die. But all seriousness, I really love the way she plays the character. She does a great job, and I really like the whole journey of her figuring out the whole myth and going from somebody who does not believe in it at all to eventually realizing, oh shit, this is real. This is actually something that's going on. The Candyman's after me now. Now I have to figure it all out. I just really love Virginia Madsen in this movie. And then you have Vanessa Williams in this movie. She's not in it a whole bunch, but I do really like her in this movie. She actually does appear in a movie later on down the road in this franchise, which I will be reviewing all 4 of these movies this week. So that'll be fun to do. But either way, I really like Vanessa Williams. But easily the best part of this movie, and the best part of this entire franchise really, is Tony Todd himself as the Candyman. I love Tony Todd. He's a very underrated actor. And a lot of people are talking about how Robert Englund is irreplaceable as Freddy Krueger. But I'd argue that Tony Todd is even more irreplaceable as the Candyman, because nobody fits this role better than Tony Todd does. I mean, the presence he has, the booming voice that he has, just everything about Tony Todd's performance is absolutely perfect. We don't see him until about the halfway point of this movie, but when he shows up, he absolutely nails it. He steals the show, and he absolutely commands the screen with his booming voice and his looming presence throughout the film. I love Tony Todd in this movie. And I also really like the reveals about his character. And I really love how he's not just your typical slasher villain. He actually has a tragic backstory. He's kind of a romantic. And how he's really a spirit of vengeance and not an actual villain in the movie. I also really like the chemistry that he has with Virginia Madsen, and the whole reveal in the 3rd act that Helen is actually possibly a reincarnation of his former lover from before he was killed. Really, really great reveal, and a really great monologue from Tony Todd about how it was always her and how he always loved her. A great scene, great monologue from Tony Todd, like I said. And then, other than that, I just really like the story of this movie. Like I said, Virginia Madsen plays a character who's skeptical of the urban legend of Candyman, goes digging, finds more than she can handle, and gets in way too deep with this legend. And just really, really great. I love the way it all plays out. Like I said, one of the greatest 3rd act reveals of all time, with how she was a reincarnation of his former lover. And there's a scene in this movie early on where they describe how he became the Candyman, what happened to him, and this is something I'm going to cover in my review for the second one. But this scene where they just mention in words what happened, and then you have the sound effects in the background highlighting what the story is telling. Absolutely amazing, amazing scene. Very powerful, very rich storytelling in just an exposition dump scene. And then aside from all that, you have the score in this movie, absolutely terrific. The whole music box theme, Helen's theme as it's called, absolutely terrific. Honestly, it should be up there with other horror themes like Halloween and Saw. In my opinion, it should be up there with those movies as one of the greatest horror movie themes of all time. And then aside from all that, obviously with a slasher movie, you get some really great kills in this movie. There's not a whole lot of kills, but the kills we do get are absolutely terrific. It's very gory, especially for a 90s movie. Just really great gore and practical effects as well. And then we move on to the bad, and I have nothing. This is still one of my favorite horror movies of all time, like I've said. So, final thoughts. I love this movie. I don't know how many times I've said it already, but this is easily one of my favorite horror movies of all time. And Candyman is an absolute classic in my opinion. Terrific performances all around. And I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10. That was my thoughts on Candyman. Have you seen this movie? What do you think about it? Let me know down in the comments. As always, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.